Hi, I'm Francisco.
Hi, I'm Paulina.
Hi, I am Karla.
And we are going to present
a new English syllabus proposal, Human Resources CBTIS 214.
Our proposal is a modification of the current English program in the Centro de Bachillerato Tecnológico Industrial y de Servicios número 214 Ignacio Allende. The proposal uses a situational syllabus since it's focused on English for specific purposes because it involves the development and practice of the language skills.
Our proposal covers essential aspects such as the context, needs analysis, goals and objectives, resources and materials, and evaluation.
This project is a result of combining the learnings acquired throughout the spring semester. And without further ado, let's see it. This is the contextual background of our project. We worked with students of the Centro de Bachillerato Tecnológico Industrial y de Servicios número 214 Ignacio Allende. There were 28 students between the ages of 15 and 16. Students have an A2 English level. They are part of the Human Resources specialty. English is taught for 14 weeks, which gives a total of 48 hours with a face-to-face modality throughout the semester, and there are very limited resources for the teachers. There are no computers available for them, so if they want to give a PowerPoint presentation, they have to bring their own computer. If they want to use a projector, they have to bring their own because there are only 5 of them available for the entire school. And there are no speakers, so they also have to bring them in. This is our needs analysis, and through an interview with the teacher, we discovered that the least practicability was listening. From the survey, we found out that students consider themselves to be at a basic level. They would like to learn vocabulary related to their specialty, which is why we decided to create an ESP course. The students like English, which is a good thing. Before getting into the CBTIS 214, they hadn't had any previous classes of English. We also found very interesting that the students think their teacher is responsible for their success in the classroom. They said they really liked the way he taught and the way he carried out the class. It was interesting, it was fun. They understood what he was saying. They felt very comfortable in his class, and they would like to be evaluated through projects instead of exams or homework.
As a next point, we have the goals and objective. What are students able to do at the end of this course? What are students able to do at the end of each unit, each lesson? Writing goals and objective is a foundational step in course design. Clearly defined objectives and goals will help us determine the adequate content, activities, supports, and assessments for our students. For our proposal, we have created a general objective, the main goal, and different specific objectives for each skill we have focused on. To create these goals and objectives, we take into account some aspects such as time, students' level, material, student needs, and so on, and some basic questions. For example, what are the purposes and intended outcomes of the course? What will my students be able to do? So first we have the main goal. The main goal of our course is students communicate orally and in writing in situations related to the specialty in human resources, applying the specific vocabulary of the field obtained through text and audio videos. In this sense, the main goal communicates the overall course outcomes that the students will be able to perform at the end of the course. In the same way, the goal sets boundaries for instruction and the design process. Then we have the specific objective. In creating our specific objective, we first thought about how each unit will help achieve the course goal. Based on this, we create the objective of each unit corresponding to the selected goal. Each objective was created according to the skill in which unit focused: speaking, writing, listening, and reading, and taking into consideration the topics covered. As an example, in Unit 1 of our course called Houston, we have a problem. The main skill is reading, and the function is reading formal letters. In this sense, our specific objective is students analyze 2 letters and answer questions about the content in the documents. In this way, the corresponding objective was assigned to each unit according to content and skills. For the creation of our objective and goals, we take into consideration that if the objectives are achieved, we can say that we have reached the corresponding goal.
So now we move to conceptualizing content. Here, we decided to follow the course organization that the CBTIS 2014 already had established. So as you can see here, there is partial 1, partial 2, and partial 3. So next, we had to come up with unit titles. Here we had a very hard time deciding on a title that could represent a whole unit according to the content we were covering. At first we were going for 6 units, 2 per partial, but in the end we decided to do 5 instead of 6 because we wanted to use the equivalent of 2 partials to carry out the final project without rush. In partial 1 you can see unit 1 and unit 2, and the first one, the title is Houston, we have a problem, and the main skill is reading. Here students are going to read about problems that might occur in a human resources environment. And on the second unit, leaders solve problems are going to write about those problems. In partial 2, we have unit 3 and unit 4. The unit 3 is wise words, and the main in unit 3 wise words the main skill is speaking, and in unit 4 in the office what a day is going to be listening. Finally, we have partial 3, where our final project is supposed to take place with the integrated skills writing, speaking, and listening. The last unit title is looking for a job, and students will design and perform an interview as a sketch. Here we took into account what we learned in our courses of Enseñanza Habilidades. As it is nearly impossible to teach isolated skills, we divided each unit with a receptive and productive skills, and on the final unit we compounded the skills. Here we have the example of the first partial, from week 1 to 5. You can see the unit, which is Houston, we have a problem, then the duration, which is 6 hours divided in 2 weeks, the specific objectives, the skills, the main skill actually, which is reading, then the 3 different situations, the function, the main content of vocabulary, grammar, skill content, the materials, and finally the techniques.
Next, we have the materials and resources. With the course objective and content determined, it's time to think about the content and how it will be presented. Identifying and obtaining materials for a course begins with clarifying course objective and learning outcomes, because there are so many materials that we could choose from. For example, books, magazine, articles, newspaper, podcasts, videos, etc. And it is helpful to be clear about the learning outcomes of the course and what materials would help students achieve them. For our proposal, we have provided a series of references, mainly online references such as internet pages, blogs, podcasts, videos, articles, and so on, in which the teacher can find information and resources on the topics and content of the course that will help him to carry out his classes, his activities, and his materials. It is important to know that the materials provided are for reference only, because their creation and adaptation was planned taking into account the lack of materials for level A2 in this field. To provide the references, we had to carry out a content curation to search and select the information, since, as I mentioned before, it is difficult to find resources and materials that are adapted to the level of the students, in this case A2. A clear example was the books for the specialty of human resources, because we found references for levels higher and for professionals, but not to the desired level. In this sense, our purpose is not to stress the teacher, because we know how tedious and difficult it can be to create all the materials of a course, taking into account the lack of resources and information. That is why we give the teacher the opportunity to use external references to those provided, whether physical or online, in different languages, mainly English and Spanish, to complement his resources and materials. Taking everything that I say into account, the teacher will create and adapt all the materials for the course, taking into consideration the level of the students, the goal and objective, and the contents of the classes. It is important to remember that the development of effective teaching learning materials is an essential aspect of successful course design.
So the evaluation plan for the course. We thought it was important to receive feedback from the students themselves because we consider that we as teachers should be aware of how they felt, if our methods were effective, if the students felt comfortable, if they had any complaints, if they had suggestions or things that we can improve. So with that feedback, we could keep improving our course and step by step create something better. And that's the end of our presentation. We hope that you liked it and thank you for your attention.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.